Hello, and I welcome you back to Code with Ibra. In this particular lesson, we are going to look at how we will build navbar from scratch. So everything was cool, everything is coded in pure HTML and then CSS, nothing more. You can see that we have the navbar brand here, and then as well the nav links. Okay, and then we also have a picture, profile picture here, and this particular navbar is responsive, so you can check that by looking at what it will look like on a smaller screen. So on a smaller screen you can see that we have the brand and also the navbar tagler icons. Okay, so when we expand, you see that now we have other content showing. When the screen is small, then other content is hidden. Okay, so when we click on this one, you see that these are the content that was hidden. Now they are here. Okay, so in case we enlarge it, it come back to how it was. When we bring it back, because we did not remove, one click this, it is still active. So we click it again and then it's gone. We click it again and then it has come. All right, everything is built with HTML and CSS. So this is how our navbar is going to look at the end of this section. I'm going to take the time to explain everything step by step, so make sure you watch to the end. Thank you so much, and let's continue from the next lecture. Okay, so before we continue, I'll kindly ask you to subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed. Give me your comment and then also your like, so that your friends who are also looking for help, YouTube can recommend this video to them. Okay, alright, so over here this is what we have as a startup. Now you come here, you can see that I have an image folder that contains what the profile picture. Alright, and then as well you can see I have 3 other files, that is the index, the JavaScript file, and then the CSS. Okay, so as for the JavaScript, just a few lines of code, nothing more. Okay, alright, so let's now focus on the HTML. So you can see that this is our HTML, and then on the line 7 we have linked the style sheet, which is the CSS, and then you can see that this is the whole navbar. And then on the line 40, what is happening here is we are simply linking the script file, which is the JavaScript file, to the page. Okay, so that whatever thing we put in that file will be rendered by the HTML. Okay, that is good. So you can see that over here I have a couple of things. Okay, now let us now open the live server to look at the changes. Okay, so alright, so I just right click and then I go to open with live server. Okay, so I think it's not really here. Okay, yeah, so open with live server. So at the moment this is what we have. Okay, this is what we have. We have the brand, that is codewithibrah, and then we have the home, the services, about, and also as well we have our profile picture. And then the last thing is the navbar toggler. So then this is the icon that when you click on it, you see that okay, so let me show you the final thing. Okay, so this is the final thing. So you can see that we have an icon here that when we click on it, then the sidebar is open. We click on it again, then it's gone. So this is what you are seeing here, the navbar toggler. Okay, that is what we are going to learn, how we can also create our own. Okay, so this is the original one, and then this is the one that we are creating. So you can see it's kind of messy. Alright, so let's get our hands dirty with code. So to start, we have to go to the code editor first, and then before continuing, let me release this one so that you can see. So starting, you can see that this is a nav. Okay, we have a nav as a wrapper, and then inside the nav we have another container. Okay, a div tag that has a class called container. So if you can see that everything is wrapped inside this container class. The navbar is sitting separately, and then inside the navbar we have another one we call container, and the container is where everything is in. Okay, so everything is inside this container. We expand this container, and then we can see that inside the container we have also some divisions, right? So we have about 4 divisions. The first one is the navbar brand is a division in a container. We have another one we call it what? Navbar content. So basically this is where the content, that is the menus, right? The home, the services, and all that. This is where they are. So they have their own division that is called the navbar content. So that is it. It's second division. So the third division is what? The navbar profile. And this is very simple. You simply have the, the image. Okay, the image that we are using. That is this one. And then probably the last one is the bars. Okay, so the navbar toggler icon is here, and then we have some bars inside this class. This class called bars are what we use to create the small bars inside the navbar icons. All right, so with that said, let us now go to the CSS and then do something. So you can really pause the video quickly and then copy what we have on the screen. All right, this is a very short lesson. I don't want to take most of your time, so you can pause the video, copy everything, and when you are done, you move forward. But only you have to make sure that everything must be inside the container. Okay, everything must be inside the container. All right, so in the CSS too, you quickly have to copy this code. This is what we have. Okay, so the root that you are seeing here is simply a variable. So we have created a variable called gradient, and this is the value of this particular variable. So wherever we call gradient, this is the whole thing that will be applied. Okay, this is how to create a variable in CSS. All right, and then over here, these are some simple page setups that you must know by yourself. Okay, so we have the selectors and then the body. Okay, so first thing first, let's now go to the browser. We know that now we have discussed how we can do everything, so now we are coming to look at how first we will start with this. So first thing first, let's come back again to the code editor, and then we will target the navbar and then also the container. So to target the navbar, you simply, let me give a comment. So navbar styling. So we call the navbar, and then when we call the navbar, let us first give the navbar some background. So to give a background, we simply say background is equal to red. So now that we've given a red background, we can come and then we can look at it and see our red background is applied. Okay, but when we look at the original one, this is not the background. So original one has a different background, and that background is what we have stored in this particular variable. So we will refer to that variable by using the keyword var, and then okay, yes, and then two dashes will come and then the name of the variable. So with this, we can now go to the browser and see that now, yes, we have the background that we are looking for. Okay, but then of course it is still not looking good because we are not done. So now that we have the navbar, we go forward to also create our to target the container. Now you can see that we have the navbar, and then inside the navbar there's a container. So this is how we can target the container. We simply say navbar container. That means a container that is inside, a container class that is inside the navbar. Don't make sure that you bring a space between them. Okay, if you do it like this, it will not work. So a space must be between the navbar and also the container. All right, so what we do now is we first have to set our display to flex. When we set the display, we use the justify content to space between. So the space between, we just space the items in between. This is what the space between will do. Okay, this is what the space between will do. You can see that now there are some spaces between them. All right, and then we come and then we specify align items. We align the items to the center, and then of course let's give it a width. So I want it to be more responsive, so max width of 1200 pixels. That is the maximum width we want to give to this particular container. And then let's also give it a padding of 20 pixels. So we'll come back to look at it and then go to the browser. This is now what we have. Okay, it's looking good already. And so from there we can come back here and then add one last thing, that is margin of O2. So margin of 02. You know what, let me take out the profile picture from it. Maybe later I'll release it because it's not making it look the way I want. When we are done with some few other stuffs, then I will uncomment it. So we come back here, and now this is what we have. We have the logo, and also we have the what, the nav icons, right? Nav links, the nav links, of course. So quickly, what I want to do next is I want to simply target this one. I want us to target the nav links and then do some styling. But of course, quickly, let me simply paste it. So I paste the code like this. So you can pause the video and then copy from here. Okay, and copy. So this is how it will look like. If you copied it correctly, this is how the code will look like. Okay, it's looking nice, right? Yeah, that is it. So these are the code. You have to pause the video and then you copy. So now that you have copied, what we have to do next is we have to now style the navbar tagler. Okay, so yes, but we can see that the navbar toggle first has this parent, the wrapper, that is the navbar toggle icon, and then inside we have the children, that is the bars. So first of all, we have to first toggle the navbar toggle icon. So to do that, we come here and then we simply select it. Okay, so we paste it. Now this is what we have already there, so you can simply copy and paste it. Okay, yeah, that is it. So you can see that you have the padding, the border radius, the border left right transition, and then the display is set to none. Okay, the reason why this display is set to none is we don't want this particular icon to be to show on large screens. So if the display is now set, all right, okay, so let's give the star for the bars before we can see it here. Now it's not being seen, so let's do that quickly. So quickly, let's come back to the code and then I will paste the bars. So the bars is simply this particular guys here. They are the bars. You go back to the browser, you can see that now this is what we have. So if we compare it to the already made, you see that it's just the same. Okay, it's just the same. So that is it. That's the navbar tagler. That is what we have here. But then of course, you know that on regular website you don't want to show this on large screen. We only show this one on smaller screens. So what we can do is we can simply turn it off by setting the display property to none. When we set the display property to none, that means this particular div here will be hidden. Okay, so it will not be shown on the screen simply, right? This is what you are seeing. Very good. Now what we have to do now next is we have to now give a styling for our navbar profile. Okay, the navbar profile, that is what we have to give the style for. So quickly, let's come here and then navbar profile. So let me paste it. All right, so this is the navbar profile. It has a width, a height, overflow, hidden, and then the other things you can see as well. And then this is the actual image. Okay, so this one is the container of the image. This is the container, and then the actual image itself. Let me uncomment it. So the actual image itself, this is this one. The star for it is this. So let's now look at yes, so this is the original one, and then this is the one that we are making. All right, so yes, we are not done, we are still on, so very soon we will complete it nicely. All right, so let's now continue also. So I come back to the code editor, and then we have now set this thing. Let me come back here. Okay, so over the here container, top and bottom should be 10 pixels, and then the left and right should be 20. Okay, so now you see it's the same. That is the only thing that was making it not to be the same. So this is the one we are creating, and then they already made. Okay, all right. Yes, so I want to show you guys one other thing. So you can see that when we come here, when we come to the navbar toggler, we have set the display to hidden. So let me uncomment this one, and then we come back to the browser. you can see that it is now here. Okay, so under normal circumstance, when we hover our mouse, the color should change, and at the same time the mouse should change to a pointing hand. So that is what we should, or that is what we are to do. So to do that, we simply have to come to the code editor, and then we do a couple of things. So we say that the navbar toggler icon dot hover, when we hover on it, we want this particular, okay, so we want this particular background, right? We want this background. That means when we come back and then we hover, you can see that the background is now there. But then of course we want the cursor to also change to a pointing hand. So to do that, we say that cursor is pointer, and I think that should do it, right? And then of course the background of the bars, you see the bars are black, so we want it in such a way that when we hover, we want the black bars, the color to change from black to white. So how we can do that is very simple with CSS. We simply come here and then we say that, okay, so the navbar toggler icon dot hover, when we hover on this one, we want the bars to have a background of what? Of white. That is it. So now you can see that when we hover, the background is now changed to what? To white. Very good. So for the meantime, I will want to set the display none to active, so that we can see it at the large screens. Yes. So now it seems we are almost done with this one. What we can do next is we have to, looking at this one, you can see it's responsive, but this one is not responsive. So let's now target the responsiveness. So to start with the responsiveness, we have to target this particular guy here. We have to target the navbar collapse. Okay, this is the one that we will target for the responsiveness. So quickly, let me use my CSS media query. So at media query, and then I want to start the responsive on smaller devices like mobile phones, Android phones, not tablet but Android phones. So it depends on whatever screen you want to start the media query from. Me, I want to start it from 768. So max width of 768 pixels. By the way, if you don't really understand media queries, you can consider going back to the my playlist to search and then get that particular one. I've already created a video on media query where I took the time to explain everything, so you can have your way there if in case you are facing any challenge or struggling in getting the understanding. All right, so now that we have this, what I'll do is, okay, so when we are the larger screen, I don't want, when we are the smaller screen, sorry, I don't want you can see that this one, when we are here, the profile is not shown, right? So what I'll do is, I'll do the same. When we are on the smaller screen, the profile, the navbar profile should be hidden. So the display is set to none on then. And then at the same time, we want the navbar toggler, this particular guy, we want it to show when the screen is small. So to do that, we simply come here and then we see that, okay, so the navbar toggler icon should have a display of block. So the display of block should release that. Perfect. So now you can see that over here, you can see we have the navbar toggler icon here, right? But then of course we have to do a few more adjustments to get the desired result. So how we can do that is very simple. What we do is you have to come here and then target the navbar collapse. So collapse, when we target the navbar collapse, first thing first, you see over here the navbar collapse already has a display of flex, right? So navbar collapse has a display of flex. So we change the flex property from row to column. So flex direction is column. So setting the flex direction to column will make it look like this. Okay, it will make it look like this. But then to not confuse you guys, let me first comment this one out. I will uncomment it later on. So we give it a position of absolute, and then we also give it a top of 0, left of 0, and then that is not the only thing. We give it overflow of heading. Now giving it an overflow of heading, we give it a height of 100 view height, or 100%, you can use percent, and then we give it a weight, for instance maybe 150 pixels. Now this is very important, so you have to get this on your code. Now we come back here. It is looking ugly, right? Yes, but that is the right approach. That is the right approach. I'll give it a background of red so that we can see that it is working. Okay, so this is what we have. Okay, now let me uncomment this one so that we can see what we wanted to do. Very good. So now you can see that it is looking good already. Now that is not the only thing. The other thing that we should do also is that we can there must be some spaces in between the links, and so to achieve that we simply have to target the links, which is this particular guys here. Okay, so navbar collapse A will do just that. So navbar collapse and then A. So the anchor link, the anchor tag inside the navbar collapse, that is what we've targeted. Now give it a display of inline block. Now giving it a display of inline block should do it, right? Should do it. Okay. Yes. And then let's do some few more adjustments. So I'll add 1 or 2 more other lines here. So this particular one, that is the box shadow. Okay, we've given it some small shadow, and then aside from that, let me add some transitions. So transition of 0.2 seconds, linear. That is it. So you can see that over here it is looking good already, right? All right, so let us do some few changes. So the weight, I'll give it a weight of 50%, and then also a padding of I think let me give it a padding of 5%. 5% padding should do it. I think 5 won't be okay, so let's change it from 5 to maybe 10. So when we come back, we can see that this is how now the navbar look like. Okay, so it's now looking good. Okay, it's almost done. So let's change the background from red to the actual one. So to do that, we simply call the var, which is variable, and then we set it to the gradient we have already specified. Okay, now you can see that over here there's a line showing us that, telling us that we have, they are separate things. This line simply showing that this side is different from this one, and we were able to get this simply because of the box shadow. Okay, because of the box shadow. So this is it. Now this is where the logic lies. Wherever you are, I want you to pay a very close attention to this particular side. Other than that, you will not be able to do this. So you can see that over here, this is how we want the site to look like regularly on small devices. Okay, smaller devices, this is how we want it. We want it to look like. So what we do is this is the original version of what we want to have. So we have to create the inverse version also. So how it should look like when this particular guy has not been clicked, because this is how it will look like when we click on it. So to achieve that, what we can do is simple. Now we take out the padding and then the width. Okay, and then we give it, instead of 50, we give it 0, and then the padding we take it off from this particular guy. Now when this happens, this is how it's going to look like. Okay, so this is the negative aspect, the inverse. This is how it will look like when it has not been clicked. So let us now create how it will look like when it is clicked. So if it is clicked, you have the navbar collapse here, and then .active. Okay, So this is the condition. Now we are saying that if this particular class, okay, if this particular class has another class in it, another class within it called active, then whatever we are coming to specify here would take effect. So if it has a class called active, then that means the collapse will have a weight of 50% and then a padding of this 10 pixels, 10%, sorry. Okay, so that is it. So you can see that now the navbar collapse doesn't have anything like that. So the navbar collapse doesn't have anything like that. Okay, but suppose we add the active. So I come here and then I add the active. Look at what happens. The moment we add the active, you can see that now we have this guy active here now. Okay, when we remove the active from it, then you can see that it goes back. Okay, so basically this is the side that is describing how it will look like when it has not been clicked, and this particular side simply tells us what will happen when it is clicked. So what we do is we just use JavaScript to perform the functionalities, the interactions that the adding of the class and the removing will be done with JavaScript. That is what I mean. Okay, so now that we have this set, I think we also have to do something else, because you can see that over here when we click on it and it is active, you can see that the button is highlighted. You click on it again and then it's gone. So in order for us to do that, we also have to do that with this one. Okay, so it seems the main reason why you are seeing this one working is simply because the JavaScript already have the code. So let me comment it so that it won't work, right? Very good. So that when you click on it, nothing should happen. Very good. So I want to target this particular icon, that is the navbar tagger icon. Okay, now I'll select this particular one and then I'll come back to the code editor. So you can see that when we hover on it, this is the background that it will come. So I'll bring comma, and then when this one also has another class called active, then this should be its background. So look at something. When we come here and we give it a class called active, you can see that it will have this particular background. But of course the color too should change. So to do that, that is also very simple. What we can do is we have to come here and state that, okay, so the navbar tagger icon, okay, icon dot active, when it has a class called active, we want the bars to be what? To be white. We want the bars to be white. So let me check. Okay, so my bad, let me fix it. Okay, so that shouldn't really waste our time. There's supposed to be a comma. So now you can see that once we have the active class, it is what? Highlighted. If we take the active class from it, then you see that it's gone back to how it was. So now, yes, we are done with the HTML side, HTML CSS side. So let's add a few JavaScript. So to start with JavaScript, we need two things. We need to target two things from here. So we need to first target the icon, okay, which is the navbar tagger, this particular one. We need to target this one, and also we'll target this one by their ID. So let me first target this one, and then you go forward to target the other one. So const of navbar tagger is equals to document.getElement by ID, and then so get this particular element, and then I target the other one, which is the navbar tagger icon. So the navbar tagger icon is like this: document.getElement of this one. So now we have the two of them. Okay, so what really happened is when we click on the icon, that is where the sidebar should come, right? So this particular icon is represented by this one. So navbar tagger icon, come here and then I state that navbar tagger icon dot on click. So when we click on it, we want this particular function to be performed. And what we want to have is, when we click on this, we want, each time we click on this, we want to behind the scene add a class called active to the sidebar so that it will open. Okay, that is mainly what we do. So when we click on it, we simply want the navbar collapse to have a class. So class list dot toggle a class called active. So toggle is like, when you click on it, it will add a class. When you click on it again, the class will be removed in that order. So look at what happens. So now when I refresh the page, I click on it, I have it, I click on it, it's gone. You see, yes, the transition is not coming. We will fix that in a moment. So this is what you can see. And you can see that over here, when we activate this one, yeah, the background stays, right? So to do that, you also have to come in and say that the navbar toggler dot class list dot toggle. So we also have to toggle active on this one as well. So toggling that will also have to give us this effect. Okay, effect, and it's looking good already, right? Yes. So let's come back to the start of CSS, and then let me add one more code. So I'll add transition to this side, and then I think it will work. Okay, so you can see that now everything is working. When we expand the screen, it looks good. Okay, when we reduce it, it comes back to how it was. So we click back to release the sidebar, and then we click on it again to call it, right? So that is it. Thank you so much for watching this lecture, and then kindly subscribe to the channel, give us your like and also your comment. Okay, it's not easy, I'm really tired, and it's even overnight creating this video, so I will appreciate it if you will give me your support by subscribing and then like, and give me your comment, and also telling your people about this channel. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in my upcoming video.